In many sports, we've seen records come and go. But some moments, they leave us questioning everything. Yihang Wang, the kid who's been on an absolute rampage for the past 2 years, having such an unprecedented level of dominance that no one besides him has even come remotely close to the world record average. And Yihang Wang's 4-3 world record average is no exception. Because for the 8th time in a row, Yihang Wang has broken the 3x3 world record average. But, again, it could have been so much more. Because he just failed the greatest opportunity we've ever seen to break the sub-4 barrier. Not only did he count 2 sub-4s, which would have been absolutely confounding just about 2 years ago, but he also proved his single greatest weakness going into the World Championships 2025. You see, 3 years ago, we saw Tymon Koshinsky become the first person to get a sub-5 average officially. Still to this date, the clutchest moment in cubing history. Starting out with 2 sub-5 times, guaranteeing him a counting solve below the world record average. Messing up on the 3rd and 4th solves meant that he needed a 4.98 on the last solve to break the sub-5 barrier. And when the pressure was on, he delivered. Now, 3 years later, Yihang faced the exact same scenario. Except, this time, it's a little different. Because the way the average works is the best and worst times are dropped, and the middle 3 are averaged. Meaning, Yihang already counted 2 solves under the world record, whilst Tymon only counted 1. Going into the final solve of the average, Yihang had a mind-boggling BPA of 3.57, the fastest best possible average ever. So here, on his final solve, Yihang has an opportunity to make history, needing a 4.76 to break the previous world record, and a 4.61 to break the sub-4 barrier. This would be easy, and Yihang knows this, because he literally averages high to mid 4 in comp. The sub-4 barrier was inevitable. This solve was absolutely tragic. For the 2nd time in 1 month, Yihang has failed a major barrier, because if you've seen my video on Yihang's 308, you'd know that he failed the first sub-3 single also. But these 2 solves may just reveal his single greatest weakness going into the 2025 World Championships. The narrative going into this championships is pretty much just Yihang is unstoppable. And if there's any hope, it's Tymon, Xuanyi, and maybe Luke. You know, anything can happen. But what this past month has taught us is that when Yihang is put under the highest pressure, he doesn't always perform the best. Now, this usually wouldn't be a huge problem, but Tymon Koshinsky seems to do the exact opposite. When all the odds are against him, when the pressure is extreme, he thrives.
He does it! And he's unbelievable!
But pressure doesn't have to mean failure, because if there's one thing we've seen from Yihang, it's his ability to come back stronger every time. And this is where things get truly compelling. Going into Worlds 2025, we know one thing for sure. Yihang's record-breaking accomplishments are no accident. But the question remains, can he adapt? Can he learn from past mistakes and turn weaknesses into strengths? The thing is, on his last solve of his 4-3 average, he reached OLL at exactly 3 seconds, meaning that it's pretty much impossible to get sub-4 at this point without having any skips. The fastest full step solve that he could probably get would be a, low 4. But if Yihang knew the ZB for that case, and if he could recognize it as fast as Xuanyi and Tymon, then that solve would have most likely been sub-4. As we see cubing being pushed to the human limits, just like other sports, we have to make the most minor improvements possible to shave milliseconds off. And ZB is objectively faster than CFOP. It just is. Comments, if you want to argue with me. With its 800 plus algorithms, you now know every single LL case. You'll need to solve it in just a single swift motion.
LZB.
Of course, to learn all of this takes years of hard work. But when you get to the level that Xuanyi and Tymon are at, you will have unparalleled consistency. So the thing is, even if Yihang wanted to switch to ZB, he couldn't. He's going to continue to use CFOP, because if he learns ZB, he'll be whole seconds slower for at least 2 years. And by the time he catches up to what he averaged before, Xuanyi and Tymon will already be way ahead of him. Yihang is stuck. He's trapped in CFOP, because even if it seems like a good method now, it will eventually be overtaken by ZB. But you know what's not trapped? Hitting that subscribe button. Because I know the feeling of hitting that subscribe button will never get old. You know what else will never get old? Luke Garrett, ladies and gentlemen. Roll the clip. Anyways, hope you enjoyed. That's a wrap.